Okay, so hope everybody's seated. Uh, it's a real pleasure to see you in such a huge number. Although it's the end of the day, and maybe my assistant today is the weather, but we'll see. We heard a lot of good presentations. We heard a lot of good topics today. I'll try to keep up the tempo. So today, first of all, my name is Hrvoje Beck. I come from Ericsson Nikola Tesla. For you who don't know, we don't produce mobile phones. We don't produce phone booths or stuff like that, questions we heard in the past. And I'll try to bring closer a topic, how we do the product management in, I would say, vision with a quite a long list of delivering products, both software and hardware. So let's start off by some basics that probably all of you know. What do product managers actually do? What is the main challenge? So what do we juggle quite a lot of hats. We try to communicate with quite a lot of different departments. And in all of that, we try to deliver some product or we try to deliver value. What I would like to mention first is that a lot of you before me were focusing on customers and discovery, on delivering value to our customers, whether we work with B2C, etc., etc. From my perspective, my biggest customer are my internal stakeholders. Our colleague Anna, who is, I don't think she's not with us here, she said the first step was convince her CEO. Within Ericsson Nikola Tesla, we have one board member, one CEO, and 14 people who are kind of a executive director, or I don't know what is the English translation. So my biggest challenge is how to get on board with my stakeholders. When talking about stakeholders, it can be a really diverse set of people. Culturally speaking, from business perspective. So I do the discovery of what is our corporate strategy, what is my stakeholder intentions, how do they think, what do they want to achieve, short term, long term, and how we fit into those, let's call them customer needs, right? So just to stress out again, we as product managers should drive the vision, the strategy, the design, and the execution of our product. The key thing here to mention is we could have a good vision, we could have an excellent vision, we can imagine, we can we can deliver great ideas, we can even develop a strategy how to deliver on those ideas, and we can have a great design, whether we are talking about the basic concept of UX, UI design, but still, if we don't execute well, everything, goes down south, right? Uh, what do I mean by that? Execution mostly relates to delivery. How do we deliver our product to our customer? I would maybe disagree with this. I would say the execution starts even with the discovery, right? I will talk about that later because this is essentially what our team discovered. We are heavily investing into market research, which our business unit is called Creative Initiative. So we really need to heavily invest in its execution and really to combine our stakeholder initiative, desires, ideas with our execution, how we perceive what is the market trend, where is the market going, and how we can fit in our to-be product in this area of market. Uh, just a few statements which caught my eye in the past. Uh, First of all, vision. What is a vision? A vision, one sentence, vision could be something else. From my perspective, a vision is your belief. What do you believe will happen in the following period of time? Whether it's 5 years, next year. A vision can be, we want to be here next year. We want to at some certain point in time. So when Elon Musk started SpaceX, he basically said, I want to create a vehicle that will allow the humanity to be somewhere else, on another planet. What was the hidden agenda? He wanted to invest the surplus capital into a product which will sell to the addressable market. That's why he delivered a rocket ship that can return back to Earth. What was the value for the customer? The value for the customer was that they possibly didn't have the internal resources to do that. So they turned towards the vendors and said, okay, build us a rocket ship which will cut down the cost, etc., etc. Having the vision without having a clear strategy on how to deliver on that vision could also bring to a potential failure. One more thing, one more digression. Most of you that were having presentations today, as I understood, were on successful projects, on successful products. This would say that every product manager, every time with every product is successful. I mean, you must confirm my statement. That's not true. Right? We all have failures in our career. We all have failures in our private life. Failure is a part of everything, right? So we must embrace how we fail. We cannot embrace failure because we're human beings, but we must embrace the way that we fail. We must reflect back, see why we failed, whether was it, the grand vision that was ahead of time, whether was the wrong strategy that we employed to deliver, or was it something else, or was it the execution itself, right? So here is one of the statements which I find pretty rude, to be quite exact, right? Uh, Another thing is we'll talk about that, and will be a substitution for a colleague from A1 on the panel just after my presentation is the design, and I would say not only the design, but how you market your product, how you listen to your customers, and how you see how they perceive your product, whether it's a software, piece of software, whether it's hardware, whether it's a mobile phone, it's a pencil, I don't know. Uh, Design as in a form of, if we talk about the design in form of user experience or user interface, is I would say one of the most important things in a B2C world, right? If we talk about B2B, there is something else, especially because my company, my unit, to be precise, is working with the government sector, with the public sector. If you're working with the real world sector, as we call it here in Croatia, things are pretty simple, right? Some stakeholder, some from the customer side has a specific problem. If you can solve it, the business is good, right? When working with the government, with the public sector, things are a bit different, right? We are talking about customer interviews, customer feedback. If you go to the customer, the public sector, the answer is always, I don't have any problem, right? But after a couple of iterations, which are not usually the baseline customer interviews or feedback, you get to the point there is a problem, but maybe he's not aware of the problem, which could also be the case in the real world. But the problem is not straightforward. For example, I've been working a lot with mayors. Mayor has only one problem: how to say, call it, how to stay alive, and he doesn't know what the solution could be. But from his perspective, the solution is get votes in the next election. And, you can solve problems in 1 million ways. The solution that we have to come up is how to uh, find what corporate strategic direction and the desire to create revenue with his, problem that he had, right? How our solution or some solution from the portfolio that we offer, or one derivation from the portfolio, can help him secure a vote on the next election. And the following and the last one is the execution. This punchline really depicts the delivery because it's a, we do it really, really good. But to Mario, he has a great word, excel. My opinion is whatever you do, try to excel at it, right? Whether it's private investment or it's a private thing or it's something concerned with business that what you do, you should always strive for excellence. Doesn't mean that you will always achieve excellence. At least try, right? Try to be the best at what you do. That I promise will secure a spotlight under the sun. And now we start for the part what we do at Ericsson Nikola Tesla. We do what everybody else does. We try to see a tree in the forest, try to somehow separate a specific problem which we can potentially get in a bit of a magic powder, right? One on the slide that we saw at the beginning, and we try to fit it in as a solution, as a part of the solution space. I'd like to refer back once again to this mayor problem. Right? The only problem is PR saying that, I'm doing good for the citizen, but let's be honest, right? And he's trying to do that by generating a positive citizen opinion of him as a person and his, let's call it, city council. Uh, what can go wrong here? A million things, right? You can identify the problem, but you can really offer a very complex solution, a very cumbersome solution. Doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense, right? The company, uh, inside ESG and stuff like that, the single idea and the single goal is to generate, especially if you're call it simple things which take into account, but really it's identifying the problem, mixing it all up, all the marketing, all the sales, all the development, all the UX, UI, stuff like that, and trying to fit it into a particular solution. Um, in general, that was what every product manager should do. In particular, what we do, we did a lot of research. Research, I don't mean our team did go through program stuff like that, but we really ingested millions and millions of articles. In some cases, people were even reading books, some specific topics, not problems. They were seeing, they were trying to comprehend how other people think, how other people resonate about a particular topic, and trying to understand, what's the movement of this particular topic. Somehow, some 5 years ago, before my time at Ericsson, they came up with an idea environment, not as a room environment, but environmental factors, air quality, water quality, levels in cities, etc. A starting point. Another thing, we are considered one word that my marketing and PR uses very oftenly. We are considered one of the biggest engineering houses in Europe. I don't know, let's put it. Ericsson is one of the biggest engineering powerhouses globally, and Ericsson is is the biggest single shareholder of Ericsson Nikola Tesla. So, on one hand, engineering, we all know how engineering things, we can deliver a product, but that product is sometimes useless or useless to an end user. And on the other hand, something completely different, environment. How to combine those two, right? How to combine an engineer who has a background in development, machine learning, data science, with a guy who is used to going out into the field, taking samples, and delivering lab analysis on water quality. That's the question. We have a topic. We have resources, at least a portion of the resources. We need to see where does this go. What do people? What does the market see? How does the market see the environment? What does the market have to say about environment and technology. So we started really, really deep diving into the topic, really trying to see, okay, uh, we're in Croatia. Croatia environment doesn't make sense, right? We all see that from garbage collection and stuff. How do people consider environment through the use of technology in United States, in the Western Europe countries, in I don't know, some other parts of the world? And we started to get a clearer picture what is done on other markets. That's not in let's develop a product, let's go into the I don't know, German market and let's push this, let's deliver a marketing campaign. No, it was for us to collect the knowledge, go back home, and say, guys, this is something that we know. Can you tell us what you know, and can we try to develop some kind of a solution for you, which will help you? Right? That was a good starting point. But I would stress out it was not enough. A unit called New Areas and Strategic Initiatives. Uh, what we do within the company, we try to expand the footprint that Ericsson Nikola Tesla has, primarily on the Croatian market. After that, once we secure some revenue from the Croatian market, we can go outside the country. The good thing for us was, and probably if some of you have ever worked in sales, is the budget is always the problem. I do perceive as a customer that the solution is a great fit for me, it will help me to, I don't know, relieve me of my pains, but really now I'm really on the short of money. Right? For us, the good thing is that this is now a hype around the world, and you have all heard about the European Commission, the grants. So somebody said, okay, we are handing out money to solve some environmental problem. And we said, okay, and we have some means how to solve these environmental problems in a easy and effortless way. And by that, I mean that we are checking the boxes when the customer is applying for a project grant. We are digital, we are green, etc., etc. We definitely have the technology expertise. We have an abundance of people which can develop, which can deliver, which can execute, but we are still missing something. I said just moments ago, we are engineers. We are not biologists. Not perceive the core of the problem. We know that the air quality through sensors which deliver the information through, I don't know, IoT, any kind of telecommunication technology. But when somebody says to me years ago, yes, yes, I'm really monitoring the water quality by taking samples, then taking that sample to the lab, and then I'm really focusing not only on the conductivity, but I'm focusing on the pH values because the pH is important. And then we found out that for a good product execution, we need partners, especially for this domain partners, which do have a deeper understanding. They don't have the understanding of the technology, they have the understanding of the problem. What was the best thing besides them having the understanding of the problem, they have the understanding of the customer, our customer. Why? Because they were the ones who were, in some cases, working closely with the customer because of the organizational structure and the laws and the regulations. I don't know why. On the other hand, in some cases, they were somehow, you know, I would call it battling with the customer over environmental topics. So they were, at some point in time, in some way, they were closely connected. They have a good relationship. I mean, they do quarrel over lunch, but they laugh over dinner. That was our, let's say, advantage point when we try to seek out how to close this value proposition. Third, as I mentioned in my um, headline on the agenda, not on the slide, R&D. Ericsson Nikola Tesla is actually considered one of the most competitive R&D center for Ericsson Global. And just had a yearly management meeting where once again Ericsson Nikola Tesla was really perceived as a really strong foothold for R&D for Ericsson. What does that mean? Everybody can deliver a technological solution. I don't know, some use newer technologies, some use older technologies. The case here was how to solve the problem, but how to solve it better, right? How to be more cost efficient, how to be faster, how to do something, how to excel. Remember when I was saying, try to excel. The advantage of working in a corporation is that you have people that are working hard, that are constantly innovating, constantly, producing something new. But the downside of this, siloed unit is that when they produce something new, in most cases they don't know what to do with it, right? That's why we have what we call engagement practice. Constantly communicate, collaborate. Guys, what's new today? What's on the menu? We take it to our department, we turn it around a bit, we analyze it, and we see how it fits. We call it on the market, but sometimes it's not the market, sometimes it's a specific customer. And at the end of the day, once this is done, we try to, uh, as Mario was saying, sometimes we have to say no to a change in request, sometimes we have to say no to something that has to be delivered because we want to deliver at scale, because we want to have repetitive projects. Product is actually a repetitive project. Just delivering over and over the same box with bits and pieces which are sticking out, but at the end it's the same box. And as I said in the beginning, our biggest customer, or my biggest customer, internet stakeholder. Sometimes when you have a big corporation you're working in, it's really cumbersome, really time-consuming process to get the buy-in, and that's why we turned away from the company. Abundance of EU funds, which are financing some interesting projects. Once again, the resources, people, our team, not that it's our team, is the best team. We have a guy who is completely engaged in sales operations. We have a guy who is completely, both. He's a techie guy, but he understands business. And we have the third guy who is constantly feeding us with the information, understands what we do, but he's feeding us with the information, saying, guys, there is an EU grant, EU fund for this topic, that topic. Ah, because it's a full-time job. Just browsing through the open applications and whatever those are, right? I'm not really familiar. I just know how to write an application and apply for grants. But the question is, did we succeed? We monetize our investment. So, just to be very clear, these are the screenshots of live implementations with our customers. When we first went to the market, when we had our first meetings, people joined us, people welcomed us to the meeting because, everybody wants to have Ericsson on the meeting, especially our customer vertical, which is the industry uh, production plants. Uh, but their first comment was, I'm glad that you're here, but I don't have any need for any new mobile phones or phone booths or phone centrals or whatever else. From there, there, and I would say that for me, it's a success. Talking in numbers from zero to somewhere, right? We're we achieved break even very fast. We achieved break even so fast. Our investment that was given to us as a team by the company grew, I would say, just exponentially in 2 years. That's a success KPI from my perspective is working in a corporate environment. To wrap it, things up, this process really has dangers and pitfalls. I was talking about R&D, I was talking about customer interviews, I was talking about partnerships. Uh, Probably most, just raise your hands. Who knows the story behind the NASA pen and the US made by Russians? Quick one. Pen made by NASA for the astronauts to be able to write in zero gravity state costed around, I think, $1 million. And the pens made by the Russians, I don't know, cost dollars or something, right, per unit. Don't over invest into R&D. It might not be the best return on investment. When talking about partners, don't rely only on partners, on domain experts. Uh, you know, maybe they have their own drive, incentive, their motives. Try to be analytical when you talk to them, but be open-minded, right? If it's something that you don't know, if it's something new to you, be open. Don't go all in at the first day. Key takeaway for me, it's always creating measurable business results. We had some things here. What are the KPIs of success? Basically, we are all striving to deliver profitable business. That's the key thing. But at the end, I think that all of us have the same, or at least similar ways and means how to deliver this measure of the business results. We're all, at the end of the day, delivering products. At the end of the day, we all believe that our products, based on our surveys, discoveries, etc., have a market, have a customer, that we are solving some problems, we're delivering them both inbound and outbound. And I hope that we all succeed uh, in doing this. Thank you very much.
Crew, I will be present in the next panel, but we do have a time for a question or two.
Because the sun is out.
Is it because of his political engagement with the mayors in Croatia? So please take a seat. Marina, you are in charge, and we are just going to read this last lecture. Okay.
So this is the end of the first day. So let's wrap up and done your presentations. Now we can relax, making some jokes, maybe thinking something. Marketing panel talk. We are talking about engaging customers and how to deliver, design, deliver value to our customers. To our business. I will talk about this topic with my guests, Monica, Margarita,
Monica.
Hrvoje, Mario, and Margarita. Welcome to all again for the second time. So when we talk about marketing, we will not anymore talk about marketing is more than that. It's actually engaging customer focus on the product delivery and the whole market, of course, and employee experience. So you was talking a lot about market research and research phase before we make decision. Let's deliver this. But can you tell us more about you told small talks with
From my perspective, it really depends on the target market,
Mhm.
geographically, and those things, and the target segment. If you're talking about geographically dislocated market, uh, which is culturally also in some cases a bit different from us, uh, face-to-face interaction such as over Teams or really face-to-face when
Mhm.
it might always be feasible. Such a case, we try to employ expectation to some form of market research for us. The same thing applies if we're talking about different segments. Some segments, best thing is to try to organize one table, gather a bunch of people in one room, have snacks, coffee, and then deliver some presentations and gather feedback afterwards, right? To people. In some cases, really,
Mhm.
one-to-one conversations and the best representation of, let's say, the target market for us.
Mhm. It is very important to make research. So you mentioned at the first we are focused on the problem. Let's find the problem, select problem, and then find solution. So I saw on your presentation there was something about MVP, prototyping, experimenting. So it's research part.
So
Could
I
you
think it's very
explain?
important to differentiate whether you're doing B2B or B2C, whether
Mhm.
it's, only several types of clients and very customized solutions, or you're doing mass marketing. And then if it's B2B, then probably you're doing dinners, conferences, round table. You're trying to engage your customers individually. If you're doing B2C, likely you're doing surveys, you're gathering customer feedback, on mass model to get some kind of analytics. Um, but regardless of whether B2B, B2C, B2B to C, what you want to do is gather customer feedback early on. You're not going to go and develop things in vacuum and then push something to the market and then only then realize that the customer didn't actually want this. Unless maybe you're healthcare and then you need to do a lot of R&D and the drug actually needs to work. But for everything else, you want to engage customer very early on and iterate, iterate, iterate. So it's the constant loop of you know, get the customer to get the product to the market, ask the customer for feedback, test it with the customer, implement that feedback, and then iterate again. So that's somewhat our experience. And, I said in B2B, which is primarily what you do, it's about customer relationship management.
Okay, when we talk about the B2C, B2B, okay, there's huge difference in processes, the way of work, organization, etc. But here we have users and users on both sides. Yeah, it is easier when you're in B2C business to have your own data, you can analyze it, make some conclusion. And in B2B, you have more steps to get to this point. Um, Mario. So it's in the nature of the B2B segment to involve your clients, in product development. But how do you get feedback from the end users? Do you ever get this?
It depends on the type of the product, which, for example, you B2C, and definitely agree. I mentioned source code as a mobile application, and they don't do collection. So they have ratings of the application in the stores, and that's how they see how their product is accepted by their clientele. So that's the key indicator which shows how satisfied their clients, their active end users are with their application. And on the other hand, you have, for example, let's say called notification security, which is basically an SDK which you can implement, which protects your mobile application from, for example, um, uh, hooking or a similar attack which targets your mobile device and then any application which runs on it. And if you, it's mandatory to implement these kind of security measures into, for example, financial and banking applications. And you can find true experts in every bank who can actually be a relevant participant in a workshop, which would allow you to get some feedback for that specific solution which you haven't implemented. Because although we're talking about a bank, which is a big institution with 2 or 3,000 employees, at least some of them are actually deeply involved and can provide valuable insight to you as a vendor on how that specific solution is implemented into their ecosystem, which they're offering to their users. And in that specific scenario, end user, I as an end user, as a user of mobile banking, of retail banking, have no idea how that's implemented. I don't even feel it. I don't want to feel it. If I feel it, then there's a problem. Then the bank has a problem. Then Seco as a vendor has a problem as well. So what we try to do to get some input from the bank in that specific case is to hold one or at least two technical workshops with the banks to understand how that specific solution is working and running in their environment and what's the additional features which they would like to get from that solution they have. But the end user doesn't.
Um, so when we talk, let's go back to this selected problem, the topology, behavior of the end users. And according to these findings, we built some new solutions. So, Hrvoje, what's your experience in this field? How do you select, oh, this is good problem, let's do something on this. What is the criteria?
We select the top. As you said, we are kind of a part of the company which has quite our hands are open, right? We can basically start by selecting some topics we would like to work on, then we can secure later on the back. Regarding the human-centered design, in my opinion, my experience is crucial in B2C segment. In the B2B segment, when you talk about human-centered design, there is a very interesting post I read lately, which says, when your buyers and your stakeholders are executives, at the end of the day, they just want to see an Excel file with red and green. There is no, it's a very simple human-centered design. Let's talk about, I don't know, SAP, ERP system. It's a complex, it's a superb software solution. It produces, as I said, not in reality, but it produces an Excel page with green and red fields. In B2B world, I would say when selecting the problem and implementing the human-centered design, it's always really focus on the outcome, not the user experience, how many steps is there to achieve the outcome. If there is a one button, okay, it's the five buttons, somebody else will do it, but still at the end the outcome of the product is the focus point.
Thank you.
You can,
Mario, yes?
yeah, so you define a buyer persona. You have you visualize and write down a description of 5, 6, 7 types of individuals who you want to target and who you want to address to for selling the product or for getting the feedback on the product. And then you target these people within these businesses, within these security, for example, that's chief security officer, that's security architect, that's lead for mobile application development, for example. So these are types of individuals who you want to target. You define these, then you pinpoint that these are the real persons you want to talk to. And that's how you get the definition on who to address. And obviously, in preparation for the getting the feedback, you get a form of what's the questions you want to get answers on, and then you approach them directly on a meeting, on a workshop, on a call. That's renewable.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Margareta, in your presentation again, you mentioned Vodafone as a good case, but didn't have time to finish. I'm interested. You mentioned that you build new products based on findings on data.
Yeah.
Uh, can you tell us more about that, please?
Yeah, sure. So Vodafone is one of our key partners. Key partners globally, and obviously it's a telco that operates in a number of different geographies, so obviously different cultures, people and different user patterns. Um, and it being a telco typically has a whole host of data about their users, right? So their usage patterns, are they using calls, are they using data, are they using mobile phone while they're driving, or mostly stationary? So a lot of data. Um, Telcos typically are, it's an incumbent and very old industry where this data hasn't really been leveraged just yet. And there's a lot of potential that you can from, just collecting the data and applying AI and different analytics on top of it. So basically, what we did with Vodafone is integrated all of their different telcos. So whether it's UK or whether it's Spain or globally markets in the world, gathered all the data, pulled it into cloud, where we can jointly analyze this data and use the insights that we get from the data to develop new products and services. Um, Basically, it's somewhat a marriage made in heaven where we're leveraging Google's AI and machine learning capabilities that sits on top of the Vodafone data. Google doesn't have the data about Vodafone customers. So you map those two things together, and that's where the magic happens. That's where you get very useful insights on the products and services that you can share.
Okay, talking about chatbots and Google, can you share with us some secrets in this room?
Sure. So I don't know if many of you are aware, but Google has actually, right after ChatGPT, Google has released its own AI model, which was called BARD, and it was somewhat of a whole host of different things. But basically, the key difference between ChatGPT and BARD is that, and, and it goes back to the whole philosophy of Google, which is open source. So Google is developing BARD as an open source model, and it's something that following the philosophy is something that Google wants to offer to the market, and that, you know, you can leverage the entire market to basically integrate into the product that you have. Um, and it goes back to the difference between the private technology versus the open source technology, and that you can actually the benefit that you can get when you go open source. Um, when you can have developers around the world working in place
Mhm. Okay. Interesting. Caroline Threshold, you are product manager, seniors. So, what's your experience with your role in organization? So, it is, today we had different overlapping positions like the same thing or same task or have different people, for example, a UX designer, product designer, project manager is involved, and they have clashing between roles. And sometimes they come to conflict on what solution, how to solve the problem, because you have the same responsibility for the same goal. What is your experience? Or you are the boss of the story and there's no conflict?
As I mentioned, it's all about the team. And if there is enough trust within the team, then there's no problem in the jurisdiction. Bottom line is yes, I'm the one who's responsible for the cost and for the revenues. So I'm the one who, if needed, then I'm the one who's going to say, okay, this is how it happened. But within the team, existing team where I'm on the product which I'm currently working we have quite a lot of freedom basically for everyone to, for example, if someone wants to create some content for the blog, for the web, they're free to do so. They can be developers, they can be business analysts, they can be official content writers. Anyone who's confident can write a blog. If anyone has an idea on a feature, they can also contribute that way and present the feature to everyone, regardless in which current phase of development we are and how this feature might be good or eventually not be good for the product. So I wouldn't say that there are a lot of conflicts if the team is of healthy structure. Obviously, if you have a lot of roles who target for the same description, job description, then there's a challenge in why do you have that many similar roles in the same team. But I think that everyone can if the team has the same vision and goal.
And how is this vision actually product strategy is communicated between teams? I think sometimes it is lost. You know, it's not clear for everybody in the chain what the main goal is. That I know that KPI of this product is number. If I don't understand what the context of this task.
So within the team, we have once a month, we have a group discussion, which includes not only the development, but also the sales, the business development, and the content and the marketing. And all of us discuss and share the goals for the next month, high level goals. So we don't go into details. It's not a meeting which takes 4 hours. It's a 1 hour meeting where we just say, okay, for the content, we want to create 4 new blogs on these 4 topics. Because last sync we have, we discussed that internally we don't understand these things. And also the sales guys said that this is the one thing that they want to address harder to the market. So that's why we define these 4 blocks which we need to create for the next year. And by doing that action point towards the content manager, to the content writer, and while everyone else is listening on the meeting, that's how we have internal sync on what's the general uh, operational strategy for the company. And then when we're talking about the company as a whole, outside of the team, on the business line level, then I'm the one as a product manager who goes on meetings with other product managers and other lines of businesses. It's on internal sync with other line of businesses as well as mentioned. And that's when I present the short term, the midterm, and the long term strategic and operational vision of the product which I'm in charge. And that's how we try to have the same understanding product for the team and for the internal organization which is outside.
Uh,
If I can just add one thing because Mario and I were working on something. In my opinion, every product manager should be, we might call it a product event, upstream and downstream. The only thing you should, one of the things you should take into account is the people you're talking to. Not the same talking to a UX designer, developer, business analyst, and I don't know, a bunch of other people, C-level, line of business manager, sales, marketing. You really need to know who is your counterpart when you're talking to somebody, right? How to deliver the idea that you have in your head, right? So that everybody can be on board, but to the level of information that is suitable for them. Uh, one example I have from my experience, we were envisioning digitalization software, one that we had in Croatia that was delivered by Opatija years ago, and we started developing the solution because after all the discovery and stuff like that, we started developing the product, actually developing, and we had, I would say, quite a lot of issues because it was my fault if I didn't deliver the idea. Once we said in lunch, I said, guys, you know, presentation is not just a bunch of code which does A, B, C, D, E, you know, presentation implement the digitization impact for the economy, for the country that is in that. So those are the dangers that you might expect during development, delivery, conception, and everything else. After that, the team itself started thinking about the topics I didn't even have in my mind. And the product itself is better in the market that we were addressing adopt the customer.
Mhm. Please.
Yeah, if
Okay,
I may add that, I think absolutely agree, and I think this is what ultimately happen, what you want ultimately to happen on the ground. What I would argue is where it all starts, is actually the culture, and it starts from the top. And what you want to implement as a leader, you want to have a culture that's collaborative, that's open, that's non-hierarchical, so that you can break the silos and you can have people talking to each other. And this is what actually drives behaviors and what makes people behave. How do people behave when nobody is looking? Are you actually going to initiate those conversations, and are you actually going to share the vision with everybody in the team, or engineers are going to work on their thing, and marketing is going to work on their thing? And I had experience. Well, most recently I'm with Google, but prior to that I was with a startup, a 100 people startup, which didn't really have a clear vision, didn't really have a clear mission, and there was lots of mishmash happening on the ground where, again, engineers working on their thing and engineering teams working on different things. Whereas, Google being a big tech, being a big corporate, everybody knows Google's vision and everybody's aligned around it, and it's to organize world information and make it accessible to everyone. And if they wake you up at midnight, you'll repeat that. So as said, it comes from the top, and it's all about the culture, and you want to kind of align all the ducks in the row and make people understand what the vision is.
Mhm. Um, Next question, Margareta. So, about product development methodology. So, do you follow some specific methodology, or do you have your own? What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I think it's going back to my talk as well. So Google has over the years, as a cloud native company, we simply had to focus a lot on reliability to make these things happen for us, but also for our customers. And you had to be online, well, not 100% of the time, because most of the time. So Google has developed its own methodology and approach to DevOps, which is the SRE approach, where and it's a set of principles. I said, not celebrating failures, but accepting them and doing the postmortems and actually learn from the failure, or making sure that whichever task you see that's repetitive and that can be automated, that you will automate that. And then another of those principles is also, and it was something that's been repeated a lot today, measure, measure, measure. So you can only improve things that you can. If you don't, then you're not going to reach that improvement.
Yes, you have to measure everything. Yes. Mario, when you talk about strategy, you have a cycle, you have your own strategy, product vision, etc. But you work with different customers, different clients who have their own. So do you have any approach how to get, how to understand, how to good understand their strategy to build products for them, you know? You share this part.
So there are, say, up to 10 key clients for sector, for example, for each of the verticals, for the financial one, for the telco, and so on. And obviously, sector as an organization has a number of subsidiaries, integration, engineering, repair, and so on. And each of these has the strong pillar, let's say, where it is the strongest in its own country. So each of these have a specific way of communicating with their top clients. And the way I see it, how we in Croatia do it, our C-level aligns with our top clients with their C-level in terms of strategy. So, for example, in 2023, on January 1st, euro was one of the top things that were discussed in Croatia. And as Prosecco Croatia financial vertical is one of the strongest and one of the most important ones, obviously all of the efforts, most of the efforts of Prosecco Croatia were pointed towards being a reliable partner and a vendor for all the financial sector in Croatia during 2022, even started in 2021. And that was agreed on a strategic level, on C level of both Prosecco and all of the banks in Croatia. So that's one way of how the strategic alliance is, let's say, agreed. Then once the C level is agreed, then they just push down on the operational components of delivery and of the maintenance, for example, of the products to do as much as they can to deliver the final outcome for the clients. And we did have a lot of adjustment up until now. We had to do with kuna, and now it's euro. So it's a big change. It's a disruptor for the financial institution, and then we are the ones who are trying to do our best to assist as much as we can. And that's one example of how we do strategic collaboration between us as a vendor and our clients in a specific industry. And I would say that that's going to happen in other industries for some similar niches, let's say.
Okay, digital products become more and more complex, as well as entire portfolio, internal processes. You build some special skills. So it is not easy today to build sustainable products. You always need to upgrade, change, adapt to market demand. So, Margareta, how do you challenge, sustainable, stable products and um, demand?
Yeah, I think you said it rightly. The market is changing very rapidly, and with Generation Z and all the millennials as well, there's a lot going on in the market. So you always want to have a relevant product, especially if you're B2C. I think the key to that is twofold. Is agile way of working where you're deploying features and new products every so often, and then also combining that with the customer, getting customer feedback really often. And again, need this innovation loop where you get the feedback, you implement something, you push it again to the market, and get the feedback again. So it's I think that the speed is really crucial here to be able to deploy quickly and get feedback quickly.
Okay, and for the end, let's talk a little bit about innovation. 100-year-old car insurance, boring regulatory products, etc., but delivered in innovative ways. So it's actually innovation. So the way you deliver make change. You can have the same product, but delivered and marketing is different. What's your experience in the market?
I fully agree that new technologies are here to stay, and we need to adapt to it. And the easiest example to demonstrate, for example, it took me 2 or 3 hours to write down a specific user story. Now I can just ask chat GPT with some general instructions, and I'll get some and that's one easy thing that can be tangible right now on how new technologies can help and change how we do things today. Next, when you need to demonstrate something, MVP, website, or then it shows live, again, you can ask the technology strategy, give it simple instructions. It will provide code snippets which you can implement into the web directly, and the demo will be available in no time. That's again the really easy and fast way of how it can help developing our products. You need less time to do MVPs, less time to do documentation. You need less people to do it also. So it will be easier. And it's getting easier already. And if I just may add, I always write down, can you please, when I write something to,
Okay, so you first ask.
yes, can you please?
Cool. Hrvoje, in your case, in Ericsson,
Definitely, I would say the technology is a key driver and the key enabler for change and innovation. And in my opinion, Aqua is an excellent example of how a traditional process and the most important thing to stress out here is can be packaged and shipped to the market because we all know that the light bulb didn't come as an invention of improving the candle, but somebody was fondling with the voltron wire and with the electricity in the car. So sometimes innovation is taking a piece of technology and seeing how it can fit in a package and then can be delivered. But ChatGPT is just an engine. You need to see how to use this engine to make a car. Because I want to drive a car, not an engine.
full discussion. Do you have anything to add? No? Yes, Maria? No, no, no. Sorry? Thumbs up. Okay, thank you all, and see you tomorrow
Thank you.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we move?
Okay, guys, this is all for today. We'll see each other tomorrow at 9 a.m. And I would just like to ask all the speakers and panel room for a information session. Thank you very much and have a great evening in Opatija.